The mask he learned to wear. He's confident, articulate, respected. People describe him as strong, driven, protective. Some even say he's intense, but that's how powerful men are. But behind closed doors, conversations feel one-sided. Your emotions feel inconvenient. Your reality gets questioned, and slowly you start shrinking without knowing why. This isn't about the ego. It's the mental construct. This is about a pattern personality structure that often hides in plain sight, the male presentation of narcissistic personality disorder. My name is Fawzia Faizi Shah, licensed clinical social worker, bringing you my 40 years of experience in mental health and substance abuse. Narcissistic personality disorder is frequently misunderstood as vanity or arrogance. Clinically, it is neither simple nor superficial. According to DSM-5, defined by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and a lack of empathy, beginning in very early adulthood and present across contexts. But here is what research consistently shows. Men with narcissistic pathology often express it differently than women. Yeah. Not louder, more normalized. Cultural conditioning rewards men for dominance, emotional restriction, entitlement, competitiveness, and control, traits that can camouflage narcissistic pathology as leadership or masculinity. This makes male narcissism harder to detect, harder to name, and far more likely to go untreated. So, clinically, male narcissistic subtypes often organize around three overlapping processes: defensive grandiosity, identity armor. At the core of narcissist is not confidence, but fragile self-esteem regulated externally. Research by Kernberg, Kohut, and later Pincus and Lukowitsky shows that narcissistic grandiosity functions as a defense against chronic shame, inadequacy, early attachment disruptions. In men, this often manifests as intellectual superiority, moral authority, professional dominance, sexual entitlement, emotional vulnerability. Vulnerability is not integrated, is actually disowned. Empathy, impairment, not absence. Contrary to popular belief, narcissists are not incapable of empathy. They demonstrate cognitive empathy without affective resonance. Studies showing neuroimaging show a reduced activation in the brain, regions associated with emotional empathy, while perspective taking remains intact. That means he understands what hurts you, but does not feel it, and may use that knowledge strategically. Weaponizing. Empathy becomes instrumental, not relational. Control through psychological regulation. Male narcissistic pathology often relies less on overt rage and more on covert regulatory behaviors, such as gaslighting, minimizing, intellectualizing, emotional withdrawal, conditional approval, intermittent reinforcement, whereas trauma bonding takes place. Clinically, this can be described as interpersonal exploitation paired with entitlement schemas. The relationship becomes a self-esteem regulation system, not a mutual bond. The developmental root of this is the longitudinal and psychodynamic research consistently links narcissistic pathology to emotional neglect, conditional attachment, overvaluation without attunement, or humiliation paired with high expectations. In boys, emotional expression is often discouraged. Attachment needs are replaced with performance demands. So the child learns, I'm valued for what I project, not for who I am. That false self survives into adulthood. So here is what my recommendations are. Okay. First of all, this is not about demonizing men, and it's not about labeling difficult personalities. This is about psychological literacy. So if you recognize these patterns, stop asking, why doesn't he change? Start asking, what function does this behavior serve? And I would suggest for my colleagues and clinicians, when you try to assess narcissistic traits dimensionally and not stereotypically, screen for shame, attachment trauma, and affect regulation deficits. Avoid reinforcing the grandiosity through confrontation alone. For partners, colleagues, and families, understand that insight does not equal capacity. Boundaries are not punishments, they are reality anchors. You cannot heal a personality structure you did not create. And for men, if you're listening, strength is not domination, control is not confidence, and emotional avoidance is not resilience. True psychological maturity requires self-reflection, accountability, and then tolerance of shame, and the capacity to see others as separate, equal beings. Narcissist thrives in silence awareness. When it interrupts it, and the awareness is beginning of the change. If you liked my video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.